It's Thursday, which means it's time to shoot another episode of Rocky Mountain Gamer. I'm Mark Cameron,
And I'm Mel Babbins.
and we welcome you on this. I'm not going to say it's beautiful. There's fires everywhere. We still have smoke, but beautiful or not, it is still Thursday,
Yeah, it's
which means
actually,
we're one day to Friday,
that's right. Pre-Friday.
pre-Friday. And on Friday, we get to, I don't know, slack off a little at work. Do you slack off at work on Friday, Lee?
Well, I don't know. It depends if Skyward Sword is within reach. If I bring the Switch downstairs, it might accidentally come on for a little while, potentially.
Yeah, Friday is Friday during the summer is the national slack off time. You try to get a hold of people in their offices on Fridays in the summertime and it doesn't go well.
That's right. No emails past noon. I don't want to see any emails past noon.
No. It's hard though when you're like working on a project and you're relying on outside people and it's your deadline, it's not their deadline. So they all just kind of take off Friday at lunch and you have to get it done by 6. It's like, nobody's answering.
You better get those emails out tonight then so that they're can't ignore them in the morning tomorrow.
That's it exactly. So, well, this is why we want you all to pay us for playing video games. Just, send money. So it's been a fairly busy week. It's been a really interesting week in games. Let's start off with what are you hunting for, intrepid game hunter Babs?
Well, still hunting for PlayStation 5s as always. Xbox Series X consoles are still mysteriously absent. So there's no fun there. GPUs still ridiculously difficult to come by. Best Buy doing their in-store thing now, which seems to be working-ish, which is funny because now in the US, I think they're doing them all online. We have a couple of good sales going on. A few weeks ago, PlayStation did their summer sale, and there was a bunch of really good digital deals. And everyone was kind of wondering, are we going to see those deals physically? And sure enough, took them a week or two, but they started showing up. So some really good PS5 games like, Neo the Collection, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Returnal, Demon Souls, a whole bunch of Sackboy.
I was a little surprised to see Returnal in there since that's a much newer game.
Oh, totally. And it's pretty decent price drop, I mean, it's a regular $90 game here in Canada. It's 65 now for the time being. I think that's a pretty good value at that point.
Yeah, it's 70 here, and I think it's down to 49.
Nice. Yeah, man, I love those US prices. But so they've got a good sale going on. Good sale going on the eShop right now. They're calling it the Multiplayer Mayhem Sale. And bunch of good fun games to play with, with other people, obviously multiplayer. There's a couple of big ones. There's Splatoon 2, Super Mario Party, new Mario Tennis, Hyrule Warriors, bunch of good games. Hyrule Warriors, but not.
If there's anybody out there watching this who has any interest in action games or Zelda or both, particularly both, play Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, it's good.
It's kind of a lot of people, these warrior games, they get overlooked because there's a billion of them, because Koei Tecmo puts out a billion different warrior games. But the ones that they've done for Nintendo, both of the Zelda ones and the Fire Emblem one, and to a lesser extent, but equally amazing game, the Persona 5 Strikers.
Yes, absolutely.
Games in that vein. I say a little less for the Persona one because it's actually a little less of a warrior game. It feels a little less like a warrior game than the Zelda ones do.
Yeah, it's almost like the battle system is kind of compartmentalized into a warrior, but the rest of it feels like pure Persona, which is awesome.
Yeah, and those games come with big Rocky Mountain Gamer thumbs ups just because they're a blast to play. You can play them for short periods of time without feeling like you've not gotten anywhere.
Hmm.
You got to hate those games where you play for an hour and you feel like you didn't do anything. Or love them to hate them. I do both.
Yeah, and Hyrule Warriors is impossible to find right now physically,
Hmm.
so it's good price on the digital right now.
Absolutely.
And that's really about all I'm hunting right now. I mean, it's nothing. I feel like we're due for some sort of a surprise drop of something that people are excited about. So I guess we're kind of going into that fall season pretty quick here. So I'm sure things will wrap up eventually.
Well, and students who are going off to college are, looking for a console to take with them to college, be that a PS5 or Xbox or a Switch. A lot of times, the oldest kid in the family goes off to college and they have to leave the console at home for the younger kids.
That's right. Yeah.
So they want something. How are the stock numbers with the Switch OLED edition going?
They're still doing really well here in Canada. It's sold out. I think the only one I can think of right now that's completely sold out is the white version from Amazon. Eventually did bite it, but I mean EB Games restocked completely. Best Buy restocked. Walmart has continued to carry on their stock. From a numbers perspective, they're all hovering pretty low. Like the stock is almost all bought up, or from what I can see anyway, but it hasn't gone out of stock. So it makes me think that Nintendo Canada really did a good job in estimating numbers, basically, because it looks like they didn't sell out. So there's enough for everyone who wants one. But the numbers are fading rather quickly. So I still expect that at launch time, it'll probably remain in stock for a little while. And coming into the holidays, you may start to see a little more shortage on that. But kudos to Nintendo Canada for coming through there.
And we're still seeing sold outs here in the US, but that doesn't mean we won't see more systems.
Yeah, and it does seem like the US is continually restocking pre-orders as well. I noticed
Absolutely.
Target got in a few more, and GameStop has been kind of flickering. So
They just go faster.
yeah, that's right. Well, there's just more people, right? So I get it.
I agree. Um, so keep your eyes out for those systems, everybody.
Mhm.
And if you know a college student and you want to give them a great gift, get them a system.
Yeah, that's a
I
great.
say that because I would have loved if somebody would have done that to me when I went to college.
Yeah, I was playing GameCube in college, so that brings me back.
Ouch. I was playing NES in college. Well, on to the news then. Like we said, this was a fairly active week. Both Microsoft and Nintendo had presentations.
Mhm.
Microsoft had their ID, Nintendo had their Nindies. So we got a lot of independent games being shown.
Mhm.
Um, and a lot of people, and I've been noticing this lately, a lot of people are mistaking independent for small.
Yes, because they kind of used to be one and the same,
It's
but
true.
not so much anymore, really.
No, not at all. Um, Starting with the ID on Xbox, which was first,
Mhm.
uh, there wasn't a ton that was exciting to me. I don't think there was a ton that was exciting to you, but there were a few that really stood out. One for me was Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Now, this is Owlcat Games. It's their second Pathfinder game. They did both of them through Kickstarter initially for funding. And the first one came out okay. Um, did not come out as good as something like Divinity 2, um, but it came out okay. And it uses the Pathfinder system, which is based on the old D&D version 3, which a lot
Okay.
of people like more than the new D&D version 5. We don't even talk about 4. Actually, I think it's D&D 3.5 it uses, but it's the older system that a lot of people still like. And as a tabletop game, Pathfinder is very popular. As a computer game, it hasn't really clicked in. There's a nice collectible card game for it too, but not the kind of numbers like Hearthstone does.
Hmm.
Um, the new Pathfinder, the Wrath of the Righteous, looks like they're really expanding things, and it looks like they've done a really good job. So, for those who are fans of like the 3D isometric overhead view computer role playing games, the old Baldur's Gates and the newer ones like Divinity, I suggest you give this one a check. It's coming out this year. I don't have a date, but it is due this year, and it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. It looks like it's going to be really deep.
Nice. And did you note, is it going to be a Game Pass game or?
On Xbox, I think it is. Let me, does it say?
Because with Game Pass, that's
And
a
I
no.
lied, it is not this year. March 1st, 22 is the
Okay.
official release. Yes, it looks like it is coming to Game Pass.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that gives you no reason at all, really, not to give it a shot then.
So that just looks tremendous. Another couple of really interesting ones, and uh, Babs and I talk a lot about role playing games
Hmm.
because it's a favorite genre of ours, and this is the time of year where we're seeing more RPG stuff, both new and in the future. We're looking at a couple of games here. One's called RPG Time, The Legend of Wright, Wright, and it's really different looking. It looks like a kid made up this game and put it in a notebook, and you
Yeah.
have to play through his notebook.
Yeah, that really caught my eye. In fact, I think that was the game that caught my eye the most of the whole presentation, to be
Yeah,
honest.
that's the one I'm most excited about too.
Hmm. And I had no idea. I hadn't heard anything about it up until that point, anyway.
I had not either. And the premise is that the kid who made the game wants to be a game developer, and he wants to clear the game out of his notebook, get through it before the end of his school day.
Cool.
And it's wild looking, and really pretty.
Yeah.
It's I'm glad to see that some artists are starting to take things in really, really different directions.
Hmm. Super unique.
Um, I noticed this almost as a trend starting with Rise of the Obra Dinn.
Mm, right.
Had that black and white kind of sketchy look to it, and now we're seeing some versions of that. This one's not black and white. There is one called Inked: A Tale of Love that is a story that is told on paper, and it looks like everything's sketched out, but at the same time there's real world looking objects in there like pencils and things you can use to manipulate the things on the paper. And it's really filled with puzzles. And it's also it's supposed to be a really kind of heart wrenching story,
Mm.
a more mature story about love and loss, um, told through this artwork that's really cool.
Man, this is what I love so much about indies is that they can take those big chances. You know what I mean? They can
Absolutely.
go with a brand new art style with a really deep storyline. Like they don't have to stick to the rules as much, right?
I, that's it exactly, and they can do some different stuff. So,
Mhm.
we're showing the video here of these games, and hopefully that will get people to look at them a little more closely. Um, on the other side, I'll let you talk about the Nindies event.
Yeah, so another really solid Nindy showing, in my opinion. I almost think that they just keep getting better every year. And I swear Nintendo has really nailed down the presentation of how to present these games. Like I found that the idea at Xbox showed off some great games, it was good and everything, but it was nearly 2 hours long. Nintendo comes along with a 20 some minute presentation, and there's no slowdown. Like they show a game, they introduce a game. Then they have a little tiny bit where they explain the information behind like the developers, and it kind of puts a personal touch to the game. And then they give you, here's when it's coming out, or is it console exclusive, that sort of thing. And then they move on to the next one, and there's no slowdown. So the whole thing to me is just really exciting, right? And one of the cooler things that Nintendo did this year is I think there was about 7 or 8 shadow drops.
Yeah, there were a bunch.
There was a whole bunch. And like one of the bigger ones that totally blew me away was Axiom Verge 2. Shadow drop right there. It came out half an hour later, and
we expected it to be talked about.
Yeah, absolutely.
There were all kinds of rumors that it was going to be talked about.
Yeah.
Nobody knew it was going to be releasing.
That totally blew me away. And from what I hear from people playing it, it's really good. I'm of course going to wait for my physical copy from Limited Run Games here, but
as am I.
It's tempting. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm tempted to double dip on that one. We'll have to see. But we did also get to see a whole bunch of other great games. Some of my favorites that I was watching are Eastward. It's nice to see more about Eastward. And I think they said it's basically going to be a timed console exclusive on Switch.
Yes.
Because it is definitely going to be available on other platforms, but I think it's timed first on Switch.
I believe so.
And we didn't get a definitive release date for that, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
But that's looking great still. Tetris Connected, again, that to me is and this is what got a lot of people talking about indies. They're like, well, Tetris is an indie, but it's the studio, right? The studio. And
well, in Tetris, let's go back to origins. Tetris was an indie. It was Alexei, I'm not going to pronounce his right name, his last name right.
Not even going to attempt it.
Pajanov, I think.
Yeah.
I probably skewered that. I'm sorry, Alexei. I've actually met him once.
Cool.
Nice guy. And just programming in Russia.
Yeah.
And programming a puzzle game. And it was just this little puzzle game out of Russia. Just one guy.
Yeah.
And then they licensed the Tetris name and overall feel for other presentations, like Nintendo's Tetris 99 or Tetris Connected. And Tetris Connected, I agree, looks really cool.
It looks awesome. And to me, this is the definitive way to play it in a sense, because you can play it on handheld. It looks like they're doing cross-platform multiplayer. So you're immediately going to be able to play with other people from around the world. It's just got all the bells and whistles, right? So that was actually a pretty exciting announcement. I'm surprised it took this long in a sense, because that seems like a good fit.
It's really cool the way the different players' screens can connect.
Yeah.
And make a wide screen.
Yeah. It's a neat way to play Tetris.
Sure. It looks like it's going to actually add a different layer of depth that hasn't been there before.
Totally. Yeah. I'm excited about that. I'll play that for sure. The first game that Nintendo showed, as I recall, was, the screen started up and I'm like, is this Jet Set Radio? Like, I was
It is Jet Set Radio. It is
Jet Set Radio. It's called Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, which of course I mistyped cyberpunk when I was tweeting about it. I blame the font. But it looks like Jet Set Radio. It looks like a spiritual successor. And from what I understand, a lot of the people that were involved with the original Jet Set Radio, there's some overlap there. Some of them are working on
I'd
this.
love to see what extent that is. But the artwork, the mechanics, what you do, it seems to be very Jet Set Radio.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I'm ready for a new Jet Set Radio. And
so much. My jaw dropped when I saw it. It was like, holy crud.
Yeah.
What is happening here?
What a great way to start the show, hey?
So we can't get that game soon enough.
Yeah, that can come as soon as it wants.
Yeah.
As possible. Is there anything that you seen in the presentation that kind of stood out to you that I haven't
that was the one. That was the big one for me, was the Bomb Rush.
Yeah,
because it was great that they led with it, but it was terrible that they led with it because it's literally all I thought about the rest of the show.
totally. Yeah,
I am a massive fan of the original Jet Set, Jet Grind radio, whatever version you owned.
right.
Um, from the music to the graphics to the play mechanics to the concepts. And from what little we saw, it looks like this continues those traditions. So I've been obsessing on this for a couple of days now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just
It's
just
worth obsessing
completely
about.
obsessing about this.
Yeah, it was a great presentation though overall. Again, I think Nintendo's really nailed down their presentation. I wish that all the big guys would do this sort of thing. I know State of Plays have started to follow a similar trend, and I like that they're going in that direction. I wouldn't mind if Xbox Microsoft just kind of condensed things a little bit more, just kind of fired through them a little faster.
I feel for the other companies because it's really Nintendo that started
Yes,
doing these presentations this way, and you don't want to just copy it.
true.
You want to kind of forge your own path some, but undeniably the way Nintendo's doing it, nobody's found a better way.
Yeah, I haven't.
So I feel bad. That's a tightrope to walk for
That
Microsoft and Sony.
it is for sure. So yeah, but it was a couple of good presentations there either way. I don't think you can deny it was a great week, 2 weeks now, because last week was Sony did a whole bunch of stuff about indies. So I think it's been
it's been definitely August has been the month of indies.
absolutely. So there's a lot of exciting stuff there, and it, like I said, it just keeps getting better every year. And I love it. More independent studios making more great games. Yes, please keep at it.
I agree. I do want to point out, pat ourselves on the back just a little bit. We were talking rumors last week and what we thought was going to happen. And the first thing we said that we thought would happen was a Nintendo Indies.
Yeah, well, they were overdue. It was
And
time.
the next thing we think is going to happen is a proper Nintendo Direct. I think, personal thought only, I think we're looking at second week of September, right at a month from now. What do you think?
NC again, no inside knowledge whatsoever.
None.
Merely guessing here, but I think we're going to see something about Pokemon first before we see a proper Nintendo Direct. So I think we're a week or maybe 2 weeks even away from something Pokemon. I don't think it'll be a full Direct or anything, but some updated info on Arceus Legends, perhaps. Something. I feel like there's some Pokemon news coming. And then I think within a month-ish here, we should have our Nintendo Direct finally, a fall Nintendo Direct. And I'm pretty excited about that one. I've been hearing that they still have stuff to show for this year. So again, rumors.
Oh, it'd be nice to get one more good surprise this year.
I keep hearing
after all of the delays.
Absolutely. I keep hearing Xenoblade Chronicles 3, not confirmed by any sources, but that would make me the happiest of happy gamers. So I hope that one's true.
I'd love to see that happen this year. I suppose it's possible, but
it's Nintendo. Could be.
To me, that's a Willy Wonka fantasy. I want to go live in a chocolate factory too, but
you'll hear me fall out of my chair if that.
Yeah, never say never with Nintendo. Yeah. Never say never. I don't have their slate down by month. What's coming from Nintendo? Do they have a big game each month from September?
There's some gaps there, I think, still.
Are there?
Yeah. So we'll see.
We need production assistance so I can say, hey, go look up what Nintendo games are coming out.
Yeah, totally.
But I can look and see what Nintendo games are coming out. I'll flash them on the screen
There you go.
with dates.
That can be
What's confirmed between now and January.
yes.
Um, so yeah, look there. Um, so that's cool. That's cool. Lots of good news. We wanted to start a new segment this week because Babs has a much cleaner space than I do. As I'm sure anybody who's looked behind me has noticed. I'm going to go green screen it starting very soon because this is just embarrassing. This is just a mess. But Babs, he keeps his stuff nice and neat.
It looks that way, but my wife
He keeps the stuff he shows you nice and neat.
That's right.
And he has a shelf, and I don't know if anybody's noticed, but the stuff on the shelf, other than the excellent Ness figure, kind of changes week to week. So I'm going to ask him, Babs, what's on your shelf this week?
All right. Well, I like to put stuff that I'm pretty excited about on the shelf. So this is something I've been waiting for a while. It's the Persona 5 Royal soundtrack from I Am 8-Bit in vinyl format. And so this is a spectacular soundtrack, obviously. 3 discs. If you open it up, it has all sorts of cool artwork from Persona in it, including the calendar.
Oh, that's cool.
It's super cool. I was listening to this earlier today. Such a great soundtrack. I really wish I had the original Persona 5 soundtrack on vinyl. That was a big.
Did they put one out?
What's that?
Did they put one out?
Not only did they put one out, they re-released it, and I missed both of them.
Oh,
yeah. So huge mistake on my part there. The next thing, which I thought was kind of cool, is that if you pre-ordered Neo: The World Ends With You from EB Games or GameStop, I guess in the US, you got this cool magnet set, which is not getting. Oh, there we go. That looks pretty good.
Yeah, no glare. Good job.
So that's kind of neat that came in from EB Games. Well, GameStop now, I guess GameStop Canada, the game. So that's on my to play list. I know I posted a picture of this on Twitter, but I have to do it again. It's the Skyward Sword Steelbook there. And that's a really nice looking Steelbook.
Yeah, that's really pretty.
I wish we got these in Canada. I had to import this one from Europe. So please, Canadian retailers, if you're watching, love more of these. And last, I just thought this was kind of neat. If you pre-ordered the Chilling Reign ETB from the Pokemon Center, it's basically they had mislabeled how many packs of Pokemon cards came in the box. And so to make that up to everyone, they agreed to basically send out a bonus item for each ETB that you ordered, Elite Trainer Box. So that showed up this week. And it's pretty cool. It has the new legendary birds as the kind of thing, and then 2 packs and a coin. So
very cool.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool way for them to I wouldn't call it an apology, but they really didn't have.
Yeah, it's an apology.
They're like, hey, we messed up, and here's something cool for being cool about it, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I thought that was pretty great coming from the Pokemon Center. And yeah, that's what's on El Babin's shelf this week.
Well, I don't have a really cool shelf, but I will show an addition to my desk this week. Gamer Mickey.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there we go. There he's in focus. I have Mickey Mouse playing a video game.
Neat.
Possibly on Twitch, but it's definitely a multiplayer game of some sort. I don't understand why the headphones are on his cheeks.
That's a good point, actually.
Rather than his ears. I mean, maybe it was just too much to custom the headphones. but that kind of cracked me up. The headphones aren't actually on Mickey's ears.
Hilariously, I wouldn't have even noticed that because I guess that that's where you expect headphones to sit. But you're right. How exactly does that work for
Yeah,
Mickey?
it led to questions, but he's still cool and he's still sitting on my desk.
Absolutely cool.
And so, well, and that leads us to our last thing. What are we playing?
Wait. What about, or we'll save the best for last, I guess?
Yeah, we'll save that for very last.
All right. All right. Let's do it.
Okay. What are we playing? What are you playing, Babs?
Well, I know I was on an anime fix for a little while, but this week the kids were out at their grandparents' place. So we switched off anime and now I finally started up Skyward Sword. And I know I was going to finish in Megami Tensei 3, but Skyward Sword just was sitting there and calling to me, and I had to. So I've jumped into that, and I guess I never got all the way through the original Skyward Sword on the Wii, but it feels difficult. Like the Switch version, like it's good. I'm loving it, but man, I feel like I'm really getting stuck a lot already in like the first few areas. I'm in the first, I guess, dungeon. And like I'm having to really think about these.
It's a hard game. I
Yeah.
had forgotten, and I will back that up. I played it on Wii. I beat it on Wii. I forgot how hard of a game it was. I'm getting a little PTSD from it. Um, Wait till you get to getting to the second dungeon, and then inside the second dungeon, it's a fire dungeon. So there's that. Yeah,
Oh,
but
good.
just getting to the second dungeon is going to try your patience. I dug out my old hint book,
Yeah,
and
I'm
I
like
am unashamedly using it.
me too. I'm like I just don't want to bang my head against the wall that much because it's a great game. Like I'm really enjoying when I'm playing it, but it'll be something silly like I'll see where I have to go, but I can't see how to get there. And so I'll wander
Right.
around the entire area multiple times just trying to find how to get up to somewhere. And to me, that's not that enjoyable. Like if I could just basically skip that and continue on with the gameplay, that's preferable. So
That's because we're old and we're losing our patience.
yes, that, and because we just have much less time
That's
to.
true too.
So yeah, I mean, if I could dodge an hour of searching the same area in lieu of an hour of making progress, I will cheat and do that.
Well, there's the mechanic in the game for those who haven't played the game yet called dowsing,
Yes.
and it gives you a little bit of radar, and you hold your sword out and it goes to a first person view, and you search and it pings off of what you're looking for.
Mhm.
It'll only let you do certain things, but it'll ping off what you're looking for.
Which is
And
super helpful.
it is super helpful. I will tell you, when trying to find the way in to the second dungeon, it's just going to anger you because it's going to lead you to places you can't get to because of lava.
Yes, that's actually my only issue with the dowsing is that yes, it's super helpful, but also it it almost is frustrating because it shows you where you need to go, but you still have to figure out how in the world to get
Right.
there.
Right. And
And
then
it's not
some of those
always.
areas are real hard to find.
Oh yeah, big time.
So, well, if people couldn't tell, I'm playing Skyward Sword 2 part of my time. And I'm also feeling a little better about myself that I have not finished Shin Megami Tensei 3. And I
Yeah,
want to say, because we haven't posted a review, I really like the game,
yeah, me too.
but it gets to a point where it's just like too much
Well, it's still
for
got the
me,
old school, right? It's still got the old school grindy mechanics in there.
which a lot of games I don't mind that in, but this one kind of bogs down for me towards the end.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Um, Maybe it's because uh, I know what the end is. I've looked at YouTube videos. I know
Oh,
what's left. Um,
no.
it's not as much of a surprise as it would be for a brand new game, so I
Right.
don't have that urgency. And part of it maybe is the old timey feel. I never liked the above ground traversal in it.
Right.
Um, that's just something I never cared for. So one of these days I'll sit down and beat it, but I don't know when.
Yeah. I
So
think
my
I'll
official
probably,
review is I recommend it for fans of old school games, and what it is good, but you're gonna have to have patience.
yes. It's
I
time to,
I would probably give it a straight up B, but say you have to have patience.
yeah, what's there is solid. It's just, it's time consuming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm also starting to play Psychonauts 2.
Mm,
So move away from the whole action adventure RPG for a little bit, and get to some good old fashioned platforming action. I just started it, so I don't have an opinion yet. Um, but the folks over at Microsoft and Double Fine were nice enough to send me a code so I could check it out, and I will give some impressions here next week after
yeah.
I have dug into it a little bit.
Looking forward to it.
So, well, our final piece of business, I think, would be the winner of our first giveaway. Because it's
Yes.
not a contest; it's a
No,
straight
no.
up giveaway.
Yes. We got some extra swag. We want to give it away.
That's right. And if you're just hearing this now, sorry, but we will have another one um, at some point in the near future. But
Yes.
this time, we are giving away a copy of Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, a
Hmm.
European version that Babs has behind him. That
There it is.
copy there, brand new. Da, da, da.
Still minty fresh. And actually, what's interesting about the EU releases is that like the packaging actually has the Nintendo logo kind of wrapping around. I don't know if you could see that.
Yeah, it's a nice security feature, so you know that you're getting something new.
Yeah, so that's pretty neat. I like that.
So without further ado, our winner is
And I'm going to pronounce this badly, I'm sure of it, but it's Twitter user Asri Rakavan.
I think it's A Sri Rakavan.
Yes, I think you did a much finer job pronouncing that than I did.
Yeah, I think it's the first initial A and then Sri
Oh
Rakavan.
yes, well it's
I'm sure I've screwed it up too, and I'm very sorry.
yeah,
We mean
my
no
apologies.
disrespect.
Not at all. It's just you're right. I think that the first and the second letters are capitalized, so that would be first name, and then yeah, that makes sense. But anyway,
Well,
congratulations.
congratulations.
That's awesome. I will
We
be
will
in
be
contact with you through DMs, I guess, and we'll get that out to you as fast as we can. See you next week.
absolutely, and look for our next contest here soon.
Yes, if
So,
possible.
well, I think it's been a busy week. And I know both you and I want to get back to playing Zelda. So I think we're going to end it here. Thank you all for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And thank everybody who participated in the contest, everybody who subscribed and got us up over 500 subscribers.
Amazing.
We are so happy about that, and we thank you sincerely. Thanks for tuning in, and we will be back next week.
Thanks so much, everyone. Take care.
Yep, happy gaming.